Good evening, friends, and welcome to another edition of the Bill Crane Report Sports Special with my guests Gary Patterson and Scott Patterson. Well, I had hoped tonight that we would have a nice, peaceful evening, concentrate on the Patriots' march to the Super Bowl, the Bruins improving their play, and the Red Sox muddling along. But it's a funny thing, something happened here, and now we got a controversy. We're up to our eyeballs in it.
Yeah.
The underinflated footballs. Three different guys have been quoted here in the papers or on TV. Rich Gannon, who said, "This is no big thing." Boomer Esiason, who said, "This is crazy to have a controversy over this." And Mark Brunell, who wants everybody hanged that's involved in this. Did you see Mark Brunell on any of the shows?
I did briefly. I saw him actually doing a demonstration of what a big improvement the deflation of the ball would make for the quarterback, and he really went a little bit overboard.
He's really,
he's got an axe to grind here.
Very much so.
Yeah.
I hesitate to call him a hater, but boy, he's got that stuck in his craw.
Indeed.
Yeah. And well, to back up a little bit, I suppose we ought to set the stage and say the Patriots have been accused by the National Football League and by the Colts of having underinflated footballs.
Right.
And now it's interesting that other quarterbacks in the league prefer them overinflated. Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. So is this a big advantage to have an underinflated football? I think if you had smaller hands, it would make it a little easier to grip. Mm-hmm. And on a cold day, I suppose it would help the receiver.
Right.
But
well, you know, as someone who has taken footballs out of the garage over 50 years, and most of them are flat on air, right? I don't think it makes a particularly large difference. I think it is a little hard to buy the Tom Brady line, though. He didn't notice any difference. Just seems to
you could
stretch it a little bit.
Almost believe the Belichick, "I know nothing. You'll have to take it up with other people," as opposed to Brady, who I personally love, and I think he's a great guy.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really happy with his performance. Did you get a chance to see it, Scott?
Yeah, I saw some of it and I heard all of it.
Lay it on me. What you think? What do you think?
I don't believe them that they don't know anything about it.
Get right to the point, Scott.
Yeah. Something's fishy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is, again, I don't think it's a big deal.
I don't
Neither
either.
do I.
Right.
But trying to cover it up is a big deal. Mm-hmm. I told my kids, when I ask you if you did something, tell me the truth.
Right.
We'll deal with it. But don't lie to me, because that will get old Dad angry.
Right.
And that's kind of how I feel about this.
Yeah, it stretches. You really have to stretch a little bit, I think, to believe their story, hook, line, and sinker. Right. An organization that attention to detail is a way of life. Every day.
For Belichick to say, "I know nothing."
Right.
Here's a guy that's in there 24 hours a day that's got his finger in every bloody pie they've got going, and he doesn't know this?
You hear the stories that he knows everything that's going on, even things going on in the front office, and in the sales department and everything else. So
Yep, and I'll be willing to bet you he's got ideas about how things should be done in the sales department
Right.
too, or the maintenance department.
But you know, it's all about plausible deniability,
It
right?
is. It is indeed.
They seem to have it in place, and for them to come out today and say what they said, they know what the answer is. They know what the NFL has,
Exactly.
and likelihood they know what the NFL doesn't have.
That's right. And
Which is a smoking gun.
Yeah,
There is no smoking
There is
gun.
no smoking gun.
Yeah.
I don't think the NFL is going to be able to prove this.
Right.
Unless there's a rat among the ball boys.
Or they want to let the referees take the hit.
Do you know what? A referee, one of the guys on television said, in fact, it might have been Boomer Esiason, that said, the referees handle the ball on every play.
Right.
You mean to tell me they couldn't tell the difference? My wife is not a football fan. Not a sports fan at all. But she said, you know, when I'm sewing, if a piece of material is supposed to be a 1/4 inch wide, I can look at it and I can tell whether it's a 1/4 inch wide or not. She said, those referees picking up the football on every single play that goes on, they can't tell the difference
Yeah, that's
between something that is potentially 20% beneath where it's supposed to be, and also if it's at the proper weight, it's going to weigh more. In fact, that's how I think how they measure them is by weight.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me those guys that have been doing this all their lives?
Yeah. Yeah, you know, the only cover story you have for that really were the conditions, right? It was rainy.
Cold,
It was windy.
it was
It
nasty.
wasn't overly cold.
No,
but,
it wasn't. It was 50 degrees.
But the wind was howling. They were trying to cover the ball between
So it was
plays,
bad in there. Yeah,
wipe it off.
Yeah.
So you could perhaps rationalize that there was a lot going on.
And not only that, but it was the championship game for the
Right.
American Football Conference. Yeah, I know. All right, Scott, I'm going to lay it on you. What's going to be the fallout? What's going to happen?
I don't think they're going to find anything. I think it's really odd that the NFL hasn't talked to Brady yet.
That is odd.
You'd think he'd be the first one of the first people they would talk to after Belichick. It's, we're now 4 days
Yeah, when
later.
you're caught in the room with the body, usually the homicide detectives are wondering.
Exactly.
Ask you the questions first,
Yeah.
you know. But he hasn't been questioned. There must be a protocol the NFL must have to go by.
Well, I don't know. There is protocol, and they have to follow those steps. But there's also relationships and phone calls, and Kraft and Roger
Right.
Goodell have such a tight relationship.
Yeah, and not only that, but Kraft, since he joined the National Football League, has become, among owners, top shelf.
Right.
I mean, you look at the ownership, and there's 3 or 4 guys that are really
Yeah.
above and beyond the rest of the owners, and everyone respects them. They're sound businessmen, and certainly Kraft is one of those guys.
Yeah.
And Goodell, and you know what? It's like knowing the police in town or something like that. I'm not going to give you a ticket, but slow down next
Right.
time, will you? And I'm sure that that's the kind of relationship Goodell has with, in fact, I know I'd be shocked if it was anything other than that.
Well,
And-
Kraft was there to stand up for Goodell when he had his problems.
You better believe it. Yeah. Well, I'm on your side, Scott. I think this is going to be huffing and puffing, and they're not going to be able to blow the house down. I don't
Yeah.
think.
Right, and I think the
I
Patriots
think
already
the,
know
I
it.
think the 3 little pigs are all right in there.
Yeah, I do too. Go to the 4 corners and just
Yeah.
Move on.
Does it affect the team, Scott? Is Belichick going to be able to get the team in the dressing room and say, now I'm going to tell you something right now. Block all this stuff out of your heads. You listen to me. You concentrate on the game plan. Don't talk to reporters. Well, they're not allowed to talk to reporters anyway. unless it's mandated by the
Right.
league, they have to go sit in front of them. And they're pretty well drilled as to what they can say and what they can't say. But can he get them to concentrate strictly on football?
I think he can, and I think it might even motivate the team to play better. Everybody,
Slad is showing promise.
everybody outside of New England is calling us cheaters.
Oh, well, you know what is shocking is, well, not shocking perhaps, but to the uninitiated, leave New England and talk to football fans, and boy, do they hate them.
They hate us.
Oh, they hate us, yeah.
Yeah, and I used to work for a company down in Charlotte, North Carolina, and when they won one of the Super Bowls, I sent him a hat in the mail. The owner, oh, he called me up. He called me all kinds of names. They don't like the Patriots.
No.
You know, I think this year the Patriots have done an outstanding job. Now they're only 12-4,
Yeah.
but still,
After 2-2, though.
yeah. You lost Gerard Mayo, your tackling machine in the middle. Now, Dante Hightower replaced him.
Yeah.
And do you know that I was listening to one of those goofball sports shows, and the authority figure on the show said, you know, I hear that Mayo may be looking for a new job next year. They may decide to cut him because Hightower and the rest of the gang has come on
Collins, too.
marvelously.
Yeah.
I think he's scheduled to make some pretty good bread.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. It's like his number.
Yeah.
More than,
I met him. I didn't meet him. I saw him when he was a rookie at the Olive Garden
Okay.
up there at
Yep.
Patriot Place. The amazing thing is he's 6'1", maybe. His shoulders that are about this wide and a waist that's about this wide.
Yeah.
He's built like a bloody inverted pyramid. But he's a heck of a football player.
he is, but, you know, I
The
suspect he's going to not be here.
The numbers game. Yeah. Hey, I wrote down a couple of. Well, first of all, I'm not going to go any further. We'll be back up. Super Bowl prediction.
It's too tough to predict, but
Oh, what?
I'm gonna say, am I giving a score?
Yeah. Patriots by a touchdown or something.
I'm
Whatever you want
gonna
to call
say 31-28 New England.
it. And the current line was Pick'em. I don't know whether it's changed or not.
I haven't looked.
I
Yeah.
think it's going back and forth.
Yeah.
Point here, point there.
Yeah. Gary?
I like New England 27-24. I do.
I like the Patriots too, by a couple of touchdowns.
Couple of touchdowns?
Yeah. I like the way the defense is played.
Yeah.
And I especially like the fact that our special teams
Make plays.
That's our big advantage.
They make plays. And
and they don't screw up plays,
yeah.
generally.
And you know, Darrelle Revis and McCourty make plays back there.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I know Seattle's got a tough defense, and I know they're going to. But I think our offense is better, except, well, when they hand the ball off to Golden Shoes.
Yeah. Well,
Man, tackling him is, that's a
he's
full.
a handful.
He is really a handful. But you know, when Blount gets moving, he's a handful too. Gee, a couple of those moves he made in that
Yeah.
last game.
It's amazing.
He's not supposed to be faking out D-backs and going around
Spinning,
them.
yeah. The spin moves.
I wrote down some names.
And it looks like Stork is going to be back.
Really?
He practiced today.
Okay. You know, that kid
he-
came on the second
Big time.
half of
Yeah,
the
he
year.
sure did.
Yeah. Again, help me with this. Number 4 draft, fourth round?
Fourth rounder,
Fourth rounder.
just like Dan
Boy,
Copen.
I tell you, he finds these guys.
Dan Copen was a fourth round
Yeah.
pick, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, when you're big friends with Urban Meyer, are big friends with Lou Saban, and you go to their spring training dues and sit down and watch the guys work out and what's the story with this guy, Urban?
Yeah.
And what's going on with this guy, Lou? Now, this kid that's playing for Arkansas, blah, blah, he gets more information.
The network.
Yep, the network. That's
Yeah.
right. He's got ex-players now that are assistant coaches or defensive coordinators, different places too.
All
So the
over.
network just gets wider.
Right.
Chandler Jones. He's back,
He is.
and he looks good out there. Not a world beater, but he looks good out there. And Vince Wilfork made it back. Now
Vince
Me-
has played very well.
yeah, he has. Yeah, occupying 2 guys.
Yeah.
And that's, he doesn't have to do anything other than that, really.
Yeah.
Right.
Clogging up that middle.
Save an occasional motorist.
She was in the paper, she had either 8 or 9 beers.
Yeah, she got
Yeah.
booked for DUI.
Yeah, about .17 or something like that. It was
Yeah.
over double. Yeah. Wow. Darrell Revis.
Got to be back.
Worth the money?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
What do you think the chances are? Give me odds. Them restructuring his contract so that it works for both of them.
I think the odds are pretty good.
Pretty good?
Yeah.
6 to
Especially
5,
that
7
we're,
to 5.
we're in the Super Bowl, win or lose.
Yeah, that's what he came here to do, is to
That's
play in
right.
the Super Bowl.
First one.
I think so too. Look, it makes too much sense for them
Yeah.
not to figure a way to resign.
We've been waiting for him forever.
Yeah. And Dante Hightower has really,
Yeah.
really come on. Jamie Collins. Any thoughts on Jamie Collins?
Star in the making.
Yeah,
He's special.
He's a stud.
He really and truly is. He
Yeah.
is you talk about Gronk being an extraordinary athlete. How can somebody that big be that strong and
Right.
block that well and catch the ball that well and all? This Jamie Collins does all kinds of
He
stuff.
sure does.
Boy, he drops back into pass coverage. He's brutal. Then blitz that they run every once in a while
Up
where
the
they come
middle.
up the middle.
Yeah.
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 Love to see him coming after me if I was a quarterback. But and Darren McCourty, I think, has had a very sound
Yeah.
year. Made some
Yeah, they
big
have to
plays.
sign him. He's another one that's a free agent.
Yeah,
and
yeah. I don't.
I think they'll sign him.
Yeah,
He's a Patriot.
he's very well liked, very well
Yeah.
respected on the team, and he's another one of those boys from Rutgers.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's our farm team down there.
Yeah,
I
that's
think.
right.
I think Brady's had a great year.
Yep.
One of the things that is tough, I think, for casual viewers, is when Brady senses the guy's not open and he can't put the ball into him, he throws it at his feet. Or he
Yeah.
throws it 6 feet away from him, or over his head. And everybody's saying, oh God, he's not accurate anymore. He's getting old. Maybe his shoulder's getting set to fall off or something. But yet, very subtly, he's dumping the ball.
Live for the next play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Edelman.
Terrific player. Tough guy. Prototypical
Yep.
Patriot.
Really, he is.
Yeah.
And to think he was a quarterback in college.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess he was a rollout option quarterback rather than a throwing quarterback, although that was a nice ball he
Yeah.
threw.
It
I'll
sure
tell you.
was.
I imagine they probably did that in the tent. They didn't let the fans see that particular play being developed.
But watching him play, you just knew that pass was going to be perfect because
Yeah,
he has every appearance of being a clutch player, of
You know-
stepping up at the moment.
Yeah, and he's the best punt returner in the National Football League.
He's awfully good. Yeah.
Yeah. Boy, I'll tell you, he is a heck of a player. Gronk. Has he had a year this year?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Yeah. How can you be 6'7" and weigh 265 and outrun some of those guys on those seam routes? And once he gets his hands on the ball, too, I mean, it's
Run
tough
after the
guy to
catch.
bring down.
Yeah. Just hold on and hope for help.
Yeah, I love some of the clips too when they do show him on the instant replays blocking.
Yeah.
He goes about that in a pretty serious manner, I'll tell you.
He's a beast.
Yeah, he's is. There's no question about it. He really is. Brandon LaFell.
Good player. Me and my buddy were actually talking about this last night. Picked him up 3 years, $9 million. That's a steal.
Isn't that a steal?
Yeah.
And this guy is only going to get better. I mean,
Yeah,
Let's
what is
face
it,
it, I mean, he was-
25, 26?
20,
Yeah,
I think
I
it's
mean, he was-
28.
yeah, he was,
28?
oh, is he that old? Yeah. He was lost down to Carolina,
Yeah.
and now Brady trusts him.
Yeah.
And you know what that adds up to? Yeah, about 60 or 80 receptions a year.
Yeah, he had his best year this year.
Yeah.
in his
Oh, by
career.
far and
Yeah.
away. Yeah. He's a tough dude too.
He is, yeah.
Yeah.
Fit in here really well.
And he manages to get yards after the catch, which are usually tough.
Yeah.
The offensive line,
Wow.
Much better.
you know, it is fits and starts. There's injuries, and all of a sudden we arrive here at the playoffs, and it's somehow or other it's miraculously been put together.
Yeah. It is. You know, they kept trying all the different combinations early, and they finally found one that worked, and then they put Stork in there, and he's really done the job.
He has played very, very well, and you know he's only going to get better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rookies, you know, they don't usually do well under the Belichick system. He usually brings them along slowly.
Yeah.
But they stuck Stork in there, and that was
Yeah.
just a great move. This kid's got a lot of upside.
Yeah.
Gostowski. You know, I shed a tear when Adam Vinatieri left because he was one of my favorite players, clutch kicker. Gostowski is a better clutch player than Vinatieri, for heaven's sakes. I mean, not much better because you couldn't get much better than being
Yeah.
damn close to perfect, but this kid has got a hell of a leg.
Did you hear his quote today?
No.
He said that I'm strong enough to kick a flat ball over a mountain in a blizzard. That was his quote today.
Boy, I'll tell you what, he puts it in the end zone, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Out of the end zone, boy.
Now, he's a free agent too, and
Yeah, but you
Bill's
know,
history is we don't overpay for kickers.
yeah, I know that. But when you get somebody like that, I mean, you gotta find
I
a
mean,
couple.
like a Vinatieri.
Yeah, I know. I know. Well, he better. I'll kick in a couple of 20s and a 10 if we can keep him in town.
Right.
How about special teams?
Excellent.
You know what an important part of football that is. And once again, Belichick is ahead of the curve. He realizes how important special teams are.
Oh, yeah.
And he makes sure that when he's looking at the old waiver wire or looking at some of these kids coming out of college, boy, if you played special teams, he takes a second look at you.
That's why Brandon Bolden got an extension, right?
Well, that's it, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, but there's no question about that.
Right.
Certainly wasn't on the amount of yards he's racked up running. Although, you know what? You put him in there and he doesn't hurt you running. He can be a
he's
useful
okay.
player. Yeah.
As a third back.
Yeah. And I think he blocks on punts too, doesn't he?
Yeah. I
Isn't
think
he
so,
one of the
yeah.
back
He
guys?
He does everything.
Yeah. And you know, and a guy like Nate Ebner too. Well, he was a rugby player,
Yeah.
was he? Yeah. But again, Belichick saw something,
Yeah.
and he said, "Come with me, son. I'll make a football player out of you." And
Yeah, special teams have really gotten better. You know, they were taking a lot of penalties early in the year on special teams, but they've corrected that.
yes, well,
You know,
it's sort of like, I think, the difference between the Patriots and everyone else is Belichick. In the second half of the game, no one rejiggers his team better than Belichick. He goes in there, and in 15 minutes, he just redoes everything, points out what they're doing wrong, and here's how we're going to change it. He comes back out, all the mistakes are taken care of. We have new impetus, and there's no other coach in the league that can change the game plan the way that this guy can.
Right.
Offense and defense, both. He's an amazing guy, and I think he's the real key to the Patriots' success is Belichick.
Yeah. And,
Running the game. Unbelievable.
starts at the top.
The 6 straight All-Pro quarterbacks. The last time we talked about this, we said, well, you know, the Patriots are going to up against 6 top-flight quarterbacks in the next 6 games. We got Jay Cutler, Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, Matthew Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, and Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
5 out of 6 were defeated. If you told me at the last show, don't worry about a thing, Bill, I think they'll go 4-2 against those guys, I would have been thrilled.
Yeah.
5-1.
Pretty impressive.
The Patriots grew up, yeah. And poor Andrew Luck. I mean, he must be wondering what he did.
Yeah.
Because the Patriots obviously got this lad figured out, or they got the Colts game plan figured out. Maybe they're spygating on the Colts. But
yeah.
boy, I'll tell you, and Luck is a physical specimen with a strong arm.
Yeah, he's he's going to be great.
He's going to be, yeah, but
He's not quite there yet.
no. But the Patriots apparently have his number. Troy Aikman said this on the air. I don't like Troy Aikman. That's all
Okay, we'll get that established
Right.
right up front. Okay.
I don't think it was deliberate, but it sure looked like a trip. What does that mean? Is he trying to outdo Phil Simms for being nonsensical?
Hey, well, he's probably give him a run for his money.
Man, I'll tell you, you got to get up early in the morning to outdo that guy.
Yeah.
How can... Now, you're a smart young man, Scott. You can explain this to us 2 old dudes. How can Simms end up on the first announcing team as the lead color guy?
No worldly idea.
None at all.
Nope.
No.
Yeah. See, it's cross-generational. Nobody likes him.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
he's roundly hated by everyone. And I don't like Joe Buck either. I mean,
Yeah,
he's
I
just
don't either.
bland.
Yeah.
But I was really spoiled because I grew up with Pat Summerall and John Madden.
Yeah.
Now, that's the gold standard of
Sure.
announcing in color commentating. I like Chris Collingsworth. I think he's the best. And I like Rich Gannon. Kind of drops off there. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
couple of other guys that, well, they're okay.
Yeah.
But I like Gannon. I think Gannon's a very
He's-
bright guy.
He's come on. Yeah.
Yeah. All right,
Who's-
Scott.
So who's doing the Super Bowl? Do we know?
Fox.
Is it Fox. Okay.
Yeah, and their announcers
So
are.
Buck and
I'm not sure who's going to announce the game, but oh God, let's hope it's not those 2. Jimmy Garoppolo. What? How do you like him? Not like him?
Yeah, I
You
mean,
see anything?
definitely see something. Haven't seen too much of him to know. So
We're not going to either for a while, as
Right.
long as
yeah,
Tomboy is around. Oh,
I think we can trade him.
You really think? Yeah. Do you think he's
Not
got?
going to use him next year.
Think
So.
he's got value?
Yeah.
I like his mobility, and I also like the way he gets rid of the ball. He can really deliver it. He's got a lot to learn.
Sure.
He holds it too long when he's in the pocket, but I mean, 1, 2, 3, throw. You know, you can't mess around back there. But I guess he figures his happy feet will get him out of trouble. But
yeah. I like him.
I do
Kinda
too.
early.
I think again they've found something.
Yeah, maybe.
Second round, but I think they found something. Now, I think you could make a case for saying to a team that needs a quarterback, give me your number 1 draft choice and I'll give you Garoppolo. Because I don't think, other than Well, you got the kid from Oregon.
Mariota.
Yeah. He only threw 3 interceptions all
yeah,
year.
yeah.
44 or 46 touchdown passes and 3 interceptions. How the hell can you do that?
Yeah, he'll be the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
But there are people who are questioning whether he's really
He actually might drop in.
franchise
He might
type.
drop in.
Really?
Yeah.
Winston's probably going to go before.
Oh, no, really? See, I didn't.
If you take it just on the skill set, I think you'd maybe take Winston.
Really? Well, I tell you what, you really got to look at what's going on in the
Yeah.
noggin with a
Especially that
lot
high
of
in
these.
the draft,
When you start laying out 60 or 70 million bucks
Right.
for a number 1 draft choice, by the time they get through structuring a contract, boy, he better have something going on in his squash, and he hasn't proven that to me yet.
Not to anyone.
Right.
How would you like to be on the hook for Peyton Manning's contract? What if Peyton says, you know what? I rubbed some liniment on my body and I think I'm going to try again next year. Would you really be say, oh yeah, well that check, let me write out the check for $23 million.
Right.
I don't think they have an option.
No, they don't. And I think it's 2 years that they are. That was a 4-year deal he signed, I think.
I think Elway wants him back
Well, you know
because
what?
he has no other option.
Boy, I'll tell you. He did not look good to me
No,
at all.
the whole last month.
No. And if, you know what? If you had a steel rod in your neck, going down your spine, or wherever the hell it's going, and they said, if you break your neck again, you're going to be a paraplegic because there isn't going to be anything we're going to be able to do.
Yeah.
And you've made all the money he's made. Now, I like playing games as well as anybody, but I don't think I'd go out there. I think I'd stay home and count my money.
It's his whole identity, though.
I know it is.
That's all he knows.
Yep. I know it is. Yeah.
It's not about the money. He's got more money than
Yeah,
he'll
right.
ever
And so does
spend.
Brady. And look
Yeah.
at Brady. Brady, if you gave Brady a choice of, well, look, we get all the golden Fort Knox. No, I'd rather play 3 more years in the NFL. Keep your bloody gold.
Right.
If you gave him the choice between the two. All right. The worst talking head on television. Don't you look at my list. The worst talking head on television
Oh,
in the
boy.
pregame shows. I got one that is above all the rest.
I'm going to go Felger.
Oh, no, I was thinking of the National.
Oh, National.
Yeah.
I thought you meant
Okay.
The James Brown and his friends.
Yeah.
And, Terry Bradshaw and his friends.
I'm going Ditka. It's
Really?
time for Ditka to walk away.
You think it's time for the golf course?
I do indeed. I think Mike's
that's
lost,
tough
Dog
one.
track.
Mike's lost his fastball. Yeah.
I think I have to go Ray Lewis.
Ray
Oh,
Lewis.
that's a pretty good one.
Ray,
a pretty
Ray
good
was
one.
a hell of a football player,
Yeah.
but he's articulate is not his middle name.
No.
No, but I'll tell you what, if I was going down a dark alley at night and I could take one person to protect me, he'd be
Yeah.
one of the ones that would come to mind.
Yeah.
He's a tough dude.
I'd take him or Logan Mankins, one of the two.
Logan
yeah.
Mankins. I asked that same question, by the way, to Steve Nelson. And Andre Tippett was one name, and the
That's a
other,
good one.
yeah, and the other one was the God that's in the Hall of Fame,
Hannah.
John Hannah.
Yeah.
And I said,
Hog.
I said, I can see Tippett, but Hannah that tough?
Oh, yeah.
He said, Bill, he said, if I said to Hogg, lower your head and run through that brick wall, he'd do it.
There's a whole-
And you know what? He'd get through the brick wall. He
Right.
said, physically, he was the toughest guy he ever saw.
I've heard that about him. Yeah.
And he said, I said to him, how about tackling guys? Who was really tough to bring down? He said, Earl Campbell.
Oh.
He said he had
used to love Earl
legs
Campbell.
like oak trees. He just couldn't tackle it. You had to get him around the ankles.
Do you remember the Skoll commercial he did in shorts? You probably don't
Oh,
remember that.
I don't
And he
recall
had
that.
thighs that were like
Mankins
sequoias. It
got
was
thighs
unbelievable.
like that too.
Yeah.
Huge
Yeah,
thighs.
powerful guys.
Coach Cowa is my least favorite.
That's a good one.
If they
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, if they decide that maybe it's time for the rest home for somebody, take him out. Yikes. Mike Ditka. Two Mike Ditka stories. Mike Ditka was quoted. Now, I was out in Chicago. I had a good distributor out in Chicago around the time when Obama was going to run for U.S. Senator.
Okay.
Republicans wanted Ditka.
To run against Obama?
Yeah.
Huh.
And Ditka said he'd think about it. The Chicago Sun had Ditka at 60% and Obama under 40.
Wow.
Wow.
Now, that was just a quick flash, and they couldn't talk Ditka into it. And he actually submitted to an interview. I mean, he doesn't hold a whole lot back.
No.
No.
He's blunt.
And he said, no. He said, he says, I'd really like to be elected. I'd like to get down to Washington, and I'd like to think I could help straighten things out. But he said, when they start pulling that windbag crap on me and start lying to me, he says, I'd be all over them, punching them out, and then I'd be arrested and I'd be impeached. He said, I couldn't keep my hands off that lying bunch. He's a beauty.
Yeah, he is. I would have liked to have played for the guy.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I bet you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Back in
knew,
the day.
I knew a guy that went to college. He went to Pitt, right? Did go? Oh, was he from?
Before my time.
Maybe not.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure where he went, but I knew a guy that was in school with him that told me he was just. I didn't know him, but I knew who he was. Big man on campus,
Sure.
and he said he was crazy then.
I bet.
I believe
Yeah,
it.
you
I believe
you
it.
didn't mess with him.
Yeah, he's in his 70s, and I think he's still crazy.
Oh, yeah, and I think I still don't think you'd mess with him. Johnny Manziel.
Yeah.
This is what happens when ownership starts making draft decisions. Like those people that bought the Buffalo Bills.
Right.
The Pagulas, I
Yeah.
think their name is.
They own the Sabres too.
Yeah, and they're going around the country, flying around the country, the husband and wife, interviewing potential general managers and potential coaches. When owners do things like that,
Yeah. Not a good
that's
sign.
where Johnny Manziel came from, the owner, when he was still on the board at 9 or wherever he was.
The 22,
The-
I think.
Yeah, whatever it was. The owner called them in the draft room and told him, get Manziel.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
He was almost a cowboy, right? Jerry Jones wanted him, but he got talked out of it.
Do you know that probably was a tough deal,
Right.
talking him out of it,
I
because
heard
he's
that.
a headstrong.
I heard they had to rip the card out of his hand.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. Well, boy, I'll tell you, whoever they were, they knew what they were doing when they took the card away from him.
It looks that way at this point, but,
Yeah. He's undersized.
right.
Um,
But he needs to be in the right system
yeah. Well,
to
he's
have
also,
any kind of success.
also, again, you got to have it up here. He may have an IQ that's up here, but boy, he certainly is lacking in the common sense department.
Yeah.
I wonder what Chip Kelly could do with him, though. I think Kelly would like to get Mariota, but he's not going to get Mariota.
No, he's going to mess on his hands there with his quarterback situation.
Well, he's
I
got,
mean,
yeah, Foles, depending how you feel about Foles.
yeah,
Yeah, he's still young,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, some of these guys don't,
I kind of like Foles. I liked him coming out of Arizona.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look at guys like Steve Young that sat on the bench for how long before he finally got a chance to
Right.
play? And, you don't know.
Tom Brady.
The poster boy for that sort of thing. Well, I have the Globes. The Globe staff writers pick the games every week. And they go by the line, okay? Chris Gasper was 109 wins and 113 losses. These were experts, by the way. And his best bet of the week, he was 8-6 on. Shaliza Manza Young was 111 and 111. Her best bets, she was 5 wins, 10 losses.
Wow.
Jim McBride was 110 versus 112 losses, and he went 6 and 8.
On the best.
Best.
Okay.
Ben Volan, who's the lead writer, was 114 wins, 108 losses, and he was 8-6 on his best bets. And Michael Whitmer, Michael must have been, he was watching the wrong games or something. 100 wins, 122 losses.
Ouch.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
6 and 9 on his best bets.
Ouch.
So my advice
switch
to
to
you
baseball,
is, don't look to the Globe for help when you're betting, because they just don't get it done. The Herald is just 2 guys, and they're no better.
Right. I've noticed that.
No.
But it's against the spread. It's if you're over 500, you should be happy.
Hey, listen, yeah, but you know what? You got to pay 10% vig.
Right.
So you got to be.
You gotta be a little more than that,
Yeah, you got to be a little better than that. I never had a whole hell of a lot of luck betting football games. You couldn't bet baseball games when I was a kid. We used to bet hockey games. I did better on the hockey games than I did on the football games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. All right. So, with that said and done, shall we either talk about the Red Sox or the Bruins?
Well, either one. The Red Sox have been a little quiet of late, but I think since the last time we talked, they added a little bit of pitching depth.
All right. Where is Brooke Badenhop?
Still a free agent.
What's going on, Scott?
I have no idea.
You don't have a in at Fenway Park?
No.
Oh, man.
Well, I read something on him just the other day, actually. He's talking to 4 or 5 different teams, and supposedly the Red Sox are still talking to him.
Yeah.
But
What is this, the hesitation waltz he's doing?
it's almost like they've sent him out and said, go out and get an offer and bring it back to us.
Well,
That's what I think is going on.
I
I think
hope
they
that's
still
it.
hope to sign him.
Well, I'll tell you what. He was the most valuable guy out of the bullpen. Well, no, he was. But
Right.
But
He did well.
Badenhop pitched outstandingly, I thought. And I'll tell you what, almost to the point where if I were Charrington, I think I'd call him and just say, look, what's the number? What do you want?
Yeah.
Well,
it's probably more years than it is.
3 years, 9 million. Will that? Because that would be reasonable.
Yeah.
But
I suspect they don't want to go 3 years, though.
yeah, well, relief pitchers are.
Yeah.
They're
a funny bunch.
They are.
Yeah.
2 years.
Now, Scott, I know you're a youngster, and I know you've had your questions about Santa Claus, but there is a Santa Claus. There is,
Yeah.
and he brought Jake Peavy a 2-year contract for $24 million.
It's a
Can
wonderful
you
world.
believe that?
No.
Cannot.
Yeah,
I haven't been lost for words.
apparently that's the market. Apparently, no. I feel about Jake Peavy like I do about Hanley Ramirez. Where were all the teams beating down the door that you had to go that high with this guy?
I'll tell you, unless I'm mistaken, I think they have this opinion with Hanley. They got to treat him with kid gloves. He's got to be happy in order to play ball here.
Like Manny.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so they said, let's stretch it a little bit and let's make him feel really good. And
I wish they'd make me feel.
Yeah,
Don't
me
you?
too.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy. How about the Hall of Fame vote? How'd you feel about that? Randy Johnson,
I was good with all
Pedro?
of them, really.
John Smoltz, Craig Biggio?
I should take that back.
Yeah,
Biggio, I think, is very marginal.
Stretch? That's
Very
a stretch.
marginal,
Yeah. I'm
A good player. Again,
yes,
a very
good
player.
and a versatile player. He could catch,
A
play
B
the
plus
infield.
player.
Yeah, a plus player. Yeah,
B plus. I'd give him a B plus.
Yeah,
I think he'd had to be an A player to
but
get
you know
Hall
the
of Fame.
guys that said, I don't know about Smoltz, his numbers. For heaven's sakes, he pitched out of the bullpen for a couple of years. I mean, this guy was a hell of a pitcher.
No, I think Smoltz is worthy.
Yeah, I really do. Yeah, the John Lester affair.
Yeah.
Hot, cold, indifferent. Scott,
It hurts.
it hurts.
Yeah.
But all right, now you're Charrington's right-hand man.
Mm-hmm.
Would you have said to him, "Keep going, keep going, keep going"?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I think the jury's out. Meaning they have a big move to make yet. Whether it's this offseason, in the middle of the year, or even at the end of next
Okay.
year.
Then let me jump ahead to
Because
something.
there's a lot of the names coming up next year
Let me
are
jump
very
ahead
intriguing.
to something.
Okay.
World Series favorites
I saw this.
right now out in Las Vegas. LA Dodgers are 15-2 to be in the World Series. Guess who the number 2 team is?
Your Boston Red Sox?
At 9-1. Then Washington at 10-1. Then the Cubs, the Tigers, the Angels. San Francisco's down to 14-1. Seattle, St. Louis, Baltimore at 18-1. Am I missing
Did I hear
something
the
here?
Yankees on there? No?
Yeah, the Yankees. Yes, 25-1. And
25
let me
to
tell
1.
you, the Yankees made a move the other day to solidify their team. They signed an up-and-coming young second baseman, brother Stephen Drew.
Stephen Drew, yeah.
Yep, they gave him $5 million. What did he hit last year? 184.
Yeah, if that,
That was a
yeah.
good year. Anyway, back to my
Yeah.
first page on the Red Sox. James Shields or Cole Hamels?
Right.
Which one?
For the same price?
Yes, price is not the matter here.
Just
Yeah,
if I had
price
to
doesn't
pick,
matter.
I'd go Cole Hamels.
Okay, but with Cole Hamels, we have to trade prospects. With James Shields, we don't have to trade anyone.
Just
We get to keep
Pony up the
all of
money.
our lads. And they want a couple of first-class
Yeah,
prospects.
yeah, they sure do.
Philadelphia.
Yeah, I don't want to trade for Cole Hamels.
No. So that's why I think I would sit down with Brother Shields and say, can we play, let's make a deal?
yeah,
Because,
within reason.
yeah, within reason.
See, I don't
Now-
consider him a true number one.
No. Shields, 5 years, 90 mil.
I'd do that.
But I don't think I'd go a hell of a lot beyond that.
Yeah.
He's durable, but he's what, 33? He's the oldest of the bunch.
Yeah.
But he's a tough dude, and he's come to play. He takes the ball every 5 days. I think I'd do that.
Yeah, I think I would too.
But that's it. No
I
further.
think they prefer to give him a little more with a little less duration. Like
Okay.
four,
All right.
4 and 80.
I'd buy that too. Yeah, I wouldn't have any problem with
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
Yeah. I wonder how Brother Shields feels about that.
Well, spring training starts in 3 weeks. so
That's
he's probably,
exactly
he's probably getting a
right.
little restless. He's probably getting a little restless.
The steal of the year, the steal of the century, the Red Sox, Wade Miley, and they gave up Ruby De La Rosa and Alan Webster. Ruby De La Rosa can throw the ball hard.
Yeah.
He doesn't know Rule 1 about pitching.
Right.
And Webster, I think,
Journeyman.
has a heart about the size of a blueberry. Because, boy, oh boy,
He was a mess.
yeah, he's a mess. He's got an odd personality.
Yeah.
I talked to him down to Pawtucket. He's not friendly at all with the fans.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, not at all. How hard is it to be friendly with the fans on autograph night?
Right.
You got to sit there and you got to sign autographs for an hour. How tough is that? But he didn't want to do it, and you made
And it was clear, huh?
Yeah, 2 straight years he didn't want to do it. You just can't talk to the kid.
Huh.
But I noticed he has trouble early on in the games, which means he must have a case of the nerves when he goes out there.
Yeah.
Dave Wallace, good old
Yeah.
Wally, told me one day when I was talking to him about different guys that the Red Sox could get as pitchers. He said, pitchers are impossible. He said, because you got to bring them into Fenway Park, you got to put them on the mound, and you got to see how they'll play. He said, because Fenway Park is the single toughest place to pitch in Major League Baseball. And unless you got a guy that is a tough dude, he may not make it in Fenway Park.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, was one of Webster's problems, too. He had good stuff, but
Yeah, it was okay.
Now, the Paw Sox rotation.
So you really like Miley then?
Now, listen, he can be 2-11, and I'll be happy with him over those two dudes. Best thing I can see is the rear ends of those two leaving town. The Paw Sox rotation is going to be the best in the minor leagues. Henry Owen,
Yeah.
Matt Barnes, who's got $1 million arm, but he's got to learn how to pitch yet, too. But he can hit 100.
Yeah.
Anthony Renato,
I know, yeah.
that he needs another year at AAA.
Yeah.
Even though he pitched well last year at AAA, he needs another year. Brian Johnson from AA is going to go up. They claim that, he can't get much over 90 and 91, but he's got excellent control, and he really knows
A lot
how
of
to
people
pitch.
like him.
Yeah, and he's got a great changeup. And Brandon Workman, I think, will be down there.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I think they'll try to stretch him out as a backup starter. That deal about working in the bullpen, although I don't know.
I think he'll be here, and
In the bullpen?
Eduardo Rodriguez will be down there.
Well, yes. Now there's another kid too. I forgot about him.
A lot of scouts
Holy
absolutely
cow.
love that kid.
Absolutely. They were asking for him, and I can't even write. My pen won't write. And by the way, I'll do this. We're going to get to 2 more subjects. Cleveland stole Brandon Moss from Oakland.
From Oakland, yeah.
I love Brandon Moss. When he was down at Pawtucket, he was in left. The right fielder was the other kid that's out in Oakland. That's their right.
Reddick.
Reddick. And the center field was they went down to the Yankees. Old
Ellsbury.
center field, Ellsbury. And they would rotate. You start in left, you start in center, you start in right. And then the next game, all 3 of them would move like musical chairs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Moss is they were really wondering, how good Moss and Reddick were.
Right.
And they all played center field very well.
Yeah.
Now, Ellsbury, of course. But they were really worried about Ellsbury hitting. So they were trying to figure out who their best center fielder was. And the Cleveland Indians, of course, Francona has loved Moss anyway.
Sure.
And he's got him.
I forget who they gave up for him, but
Nothing. Nothing in particular. A minor leaguer. I don't understand that. Don't understand that. Ryan Lavanway, who I think could be a backup catcher in the majors, has gone from the Red Sox to the Dodgers to the Cubs to the Orioles, and the Orioles just sent him down to the AAA team.
yeah.
So he's had an
He's
interesting
bounced
winter.
around, yeah.
And now I'm getting to the last story. The Paw Sox have been sold to the Fenway gang.
Yeah.
John Henry's, Fenway's investors. They're him and Warner and the other guy. But this bothers me, and it bothers the people down in Pawtucket too, because the Rhode Island talk shows are convinced that this sweetheart lease they have with the city of Pawtucket, there's a buyout on it. It's not that expensive. And they're afraid the Red Sox Fenway gang are going to buy out the lease, build a new stadium someplace, and move the Paw Sox, because they rent that stadium from the city of Pawtucket, and they don't charge for parking down there.
Right.
And so, but the Red Sox are looking at it and they're saying, if we build a stadium, maybe 14, 15, 16,000 seats, and put in the parking, we'll own the parking, we'll own all the concessions,
Yeah.
and this will be a profit center for us. And the loyal fans of Pawtucket that have supported the Paw Sox for the 43
Forever.
or 44
Yeah.
years, what do you think of that, Scott?
I don't know. I'm not a loyal Paw Sox fan.
Shame on you.
Yeah. I would
Hey,
guess that.
maybe a higher payroll for us.
Yeah. I would guess that over, whether it's immediate or over the short term, the cost of going to Pawtucket will go up.
Yeah. Well, now
Right.
that they own them, yeah, they are. And they went up $1 on the box seats.
There you
They've
go.
gone up to the princely sum of $13.
Yeah.
But I get them through AAA, and they give you stubs for $2 off, so I buy them for 11. And I go down there and buy them all in advance, and I get the same seats for the whole season.
And then, how long will it be before parking's $5?
Yeah. I don't know whether we're that city owned or not, whether they can.
In the lease. Could be
Yeah.
in the lease. Yeah.
Yeah, but they do. There's a couple of old industrial warehouses, like over beyond Center Field. They charge you $2, big deal to park
Right.
there. You know, but I buy 3 tickets. Some games, 2 tickets for other games, and my 2 boys come with me. But sometimes there's conflicts. So I may look at taking you 2 bozos south of the border.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah. Down for a Paw Sox game.
Okay.
You can loosen your schedule up and get an overnight pass from the bride. But anywho, that's about all I had on the Red Sox. So the Bruins. Oh, before the season started, Stanley Cup odds: Chicago 6-1. The number 2 team, Boston, 8-1.
Oh, I would say that's gone up quite a bit.
Do you think the boys in Las Vegas might have been a little off their rockers with that one? Or,
Maybe.
Scott, are you going to tell me the Bruins have turned it around?
I think we're getting there. I think we're still gonna, I really like these Keith Yandel rumors that are, I don't know if you've heard these.
I've
have
heard
not.
TJ Oshie.
The Yandel's the new one.
Yandel's the new one?
He would be like, we could put him up with Chara or on the second line, and they would be Louis, Spooner, and somebody else. Go to Phoenix for Yandel.
Really? Okay.
All right. Oh, I've just got the signal, folks, that there is very sad to report that time is up. So tune in again shortly, and I promise you, we will get to the Bruins.
Yes, we will.
In
Absolutely.
fact, next time we'll start with the Bruins.
Okay, you got a deal.
All right. Folks, good night.
Good night.